Hi.
My name's J.C. McCauley.
I'm Naisha McCauley, and you're watching AccessTV.org.
Hi, how's everyone doing today? Okay, come on, we can all do better than that. How we doing today? Okay, now we talking. I would like to introduce myself a little bit. My name is Janelle Torres. This is my third year working with the committee. I started off as a former student for my senior capstone and then continued on because I just realized this committee is something that I always want to be a part of. So I would like to take this chance to thank all the committee members for giving me the opportunity to be a part with them and make this event possible. I would like to also point out that there is QR codes if you see upon like the walls for you guys to donate to make this event possible next year. So any donation is completely grateful. There are shirts and pins available. Shirts are $20 and pins are going to be $5. Okay? All right. Now I would like to introduce the students to come upon here, just so they can talk a little bit and be thanking you guys. So Naomi, Davian, and Elvis, can you guys please come on the stage?
Welcome to today's event. Thank you so much for coming. We just want to thank a few sponsors. So thank you to Better Life Home Care, Hartford Yard Goats, Dressler Law, Julio Concepcion,
Criollísimos, Atillo, Yo Soy, y Sama.
CICD Parade, Kifu, C-Town, Dunkin' Donuts, Los Amigos Softball League, Mega Education, and Tuki Pincho.
All the sponsors. Today wouldn't be possible without you guys. I would like to also take this time to thank all our student volunteers who took the time out their day today to help us prepare and make this event possible. So if everybody could just give a round of applause for all our student volunteers. Again, thank you all. We are so grateful that you guys are here. Now it's my honor to introduce for our blessings, Deacon Ramon Arrosado.
Gracias. Buenos días a todos. ¿Cómo está ese pueblo puertorriqueño? ¡Que viva Clemente! Ah, sí, nuestro héroe. Y su hermosa esposa, Vera, ¿verdad? No podemos olvidarnos de ella. Es un placer estar aquí con ustedes nuevamente. Y le agradezco que me invitaran al comité, como dije nuevamente, a estar con ustedes. Y les invito a que inclinemos nuestras cabezas, reconociendo que estamos en la presencia de aquel que todo lo puede, nuestro Divino Padre. Then the king will say to those on his right, "Come, you who are blessed by my Father. Inherit the kingdom prepared for you from the foundation of the world. For I was hungry, and you gave me food. A stranger, and you welcomed me. Naked, and you clothed me. Ill, and you cared for me. In prison, and you visited me. Amen, I say to you. Whatever you did for one of these least brothers of mine, you did it for me." Lord God, creator of heaven and earth, from the beginning you created man and woman to glorify you. In your image you created them, such as Scripture describes. And to help envision this image, throughout history you send us models, those whom we call heroes, men and women who give their all, treasure, talent, even life for the well-being of their fellow man. Today, we gather in your presence and invoke your name as we remember and honor two such models, a man and a woman of honor, of integrity and courage, and most of all, who dedicated their life to fulfilling your commandment of loving neighbor as themselves. I speak, of course, of your children, Roberto and Vera Clemente, whom we commemorate today. And so we ask, O Lord, Bless our gathering today and grant that both ourselves and those who will follow in years to come may have the foresight, the strength, and the courage to honor and glorify you as they did, speaking for the voiceless, fighting for the weak, and willing to lay down their lives for the sake of those in most need among us, that we also may hear the words, "Come, you who are blessed by my Father." Y dirá el rey a los que están a su derecha, vengan ustedes los que han sido bendecidos por mi Padre, reciban el reino que ha sido preparado para ustedes desde que Dios hizo el mundo. Pues tuve hambre y me dieron de comer, anduve como forastero y me dieron alojamiento, me faltó ropa y me la dieron, estuve enfermo y me cuidaron, en la cárcel y me visitaron. Les aseguro que todo cuanto hicieron por uno de estos hermanos míos más humildes, por mí mismo lo hicieron. Señor Dios, creador del cielo y de la tierra, desde el principio creaste al hombre y a la mujer para gloria tuya. A tu propia imagen y semejante los criaste, tal como describe la Escritura. Y para dar testimonio de esa imagen a lo largo de la historia nos envías modelos, aquellos quienes reconocemos como héroes, hombres y mujeres que entregan todo, tesoro, talento, incluso la vida por el bien de su prójimo. Hoy nos reunimos en tu presencia e invocamos tu santo nombre a recordar y honrar a dos de esos modelos, dos de esos héroes, un hombre y una mujer de integridad, de honor, de coraje y sobre todo que dedicaron su vida a cumplir tu mandamiento de amar al prójimo como a sí mismos. Por eso, por supuesto, me refiero a tus hermosos hijos, Roberto y Vera Clemente. Te pedimos, Señor, que bendigas este momento aquí entre nosotros y permite que tanto nosotros como aquellos que nos han de seguir en años venideros tengan la visión, la fortaleza y el coraje de honrarte y glorificarte como lo hicieron ellos, dando voz a los oprimidos, luchando por los débiles y dispuestos a dar nuestra vida por los más necesitados entre nosotros. Y así nos hagas dignos de escuchar esas palabras. Vengan ustedes los que han sido bendecidos por mi Padre. Pedimos esto, Señor, en tu glorioso y divino nombre. Amén.
Can we all give him a round of applause? That was amazing. Okay, now can you guys give me a warm welcoming to introduce our national anthem singer from the USA, Trinity Faith Cordero. You could all rise. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night voice is amazing. Now it's my honor to introduce singing the Puerto Rican national anthem, Amarales Cordero.
La tierra de Borinquen, donde he nacido yo, es un jardín florido de mágico primo, un cielo siempre nítido, recibe de dulce, y tan arrullos plácidos, las olas a sus pies, cuando a sus playas llegó con exclamó lleno de admiración. Oh, esta es mi linda tierra que busco yo, es Borinquen la hija de mar y el sol, del 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 mar y el sol.
Amazing job. Your voice is amazing as well. Can we give a round of applause for both of our singers, please? I don't know about y'all, but they both give me chills. But now I would like to introduce Mike Aberson from Hartford Yargoats.
How are you? My name is Mike. I'm the general manager for the Yard Goats in Duncan Park. I know a lot of you in this room. There's a lot of you I'm seeing for the first time today, but I'm so happy that we're part of this event and that you're holding this event here. You know, I have so many friends in this room, and there are so many people who are on this committee and in this community who have been instrumental in our success. They've heard me say this before, but when I come into an event like this, I feel really like privileged and touched that you have, allowed us to take part in these events and celebrate Roberto Clemente and celebrate the Puerto Rican community, and really allowed us to be a part of that and helped guide us and do things properly and respectfully. I never feel that way every time I come into an event like this. Every year when we hold our Roberto Clemente celebration game, which is by far our most well-attended and popular game of the year. When we host the clinic in the morning with the Clemente family, and we have hundreds and hundreds of kids who come out and learn not just baseball, but they also learn like great life lessons from the Clemente Foundation. And I think most of you know, and if you don't, you can look outside. Roberto Clemente's number is retired here at the ballpark, and it has been since day one. And it should be at every single ballpark right alongside Jackie Robinson. And again, this wasn't, all of these pieces and these things we do, that wasn't me and it wasn't anybody else who works here. It was through the guidance of this committee and this community and our friends like Pedro, I know who I see running around here, Alex today, and Julio and Jimmy and Attorney Dressler. It's the guidance has been really important, and again, helping us make good choices is only part of us, but allowing us to continue to do it and be a part of it and be a part of how it grows and the vibrancy of everything that's happening in this room is, I'm just really touched. It's really special, so thank you for that. And thank you all for being here. I hope you have a great day. I love all of the beautiful kids in this room and all of the young people who are participating. It's awesome, so thank you.
Thank you so much for that again. Everyone can give me a second round of applause, please. Now it is my honor to welcome up the mayor of the City of Hartford, Mayor Aruna.
Buenos dias. Bienvenidos a Ciudad Hartford. Thank you for being here. I want to say thank you to CICD, to the committee that works so hard every year to put this together, and to our student volunteers who put so much organization into this. Can you guys give them a round of applause? We're here to celebrate the life and legacy of Roberto and Vera Clemente, and I think the whole world is aware of the accomplishments Roberto Clemente had on the baseball field, and that made him a legend in baseball. It opened the doors for so many who came after him, but really baseball was just a means to the end of the thing he really cared about, which was people and service. And when Deacon Rosado was giving his benediction at the beginning, he read from Matthew 25, the verse where Jesus says to those who believe that when you go to the kingdom of God, that he will say, what you did to the least of these, you did to me. That the face of those who need help is the face of Christ himself. And Roberto Clemente lived his life with that sort of service in mind. His life ended because on New Year's, he was flying to help those in need. And when you're a Major League Baseball player, you can spend New Year's Eve about anywhere in the world. And he spent it with the people who needed him the most, putting himself in that place, because he believed the words of Matthew 25 so deeply. And I think so often, if we could live that legacy, if we could be that legacy in this world, what a different world this would look like. How differently we would treat each other, because nobody is really more important than the other person. We need each other. We are a connected community. And I see that legacy play out in so many of our community leaders, so many of our pastors in our faith community, so many of our residents, so many of our elected leaders, but most of all, just in human interactions with each other. If we could work together, if we could be one and see the face of God in each other, then how great would we be as a community? So thank you for being here. Thank you for honoring that legacy that's so important to this city, to this country, and to each of us. God bless you.
Thank you so much for that, Mayor, and thank you for taking the time out your day to be with us today. Can we all give him another round of applause, please? Thank you so much, and I would love to introduce our next speaker, Dr. Leslie Torres Rodriguez, the Superintendent of Hartford Public Schools. And as she's coming up, I would love to thank you for taking part of this event for so many years.
Buenas tardes. Es un honor y un privilegio estar aquí con ustedes. It is such an honor and such a privilege to be here. Every year, this is one of my favorite events. And I'm here as a superintendent, but also, of course, as a resident, and as a Puerto Rican woman, right? Like that's who I am as well. So I bring all of that, and I'm lucky that I live in a city with so many different cultures that are celebrated, including the Puerto Rican culture. And I love this event because, and we've heard our mayor and we've heard our deacon say that, Roberto Clemente and Vera Clemente, right, they were more than just what they represented in the field of baseball. Their dedication was about social justice and inclusion. And, I would be remiss if I didn't speak about their legacy from that angle. And today, I think we have to shine a spotlight on what they stood for, and not forgetting Vera, right, who was this graceful woman of strength, of compassion, and dedication, who also carried Roberto's legacy and expanded it in ways that touched many other individuals. And I think that, we're living in a time in our society where there are a lot of conversations about inclusion and justice, and those were the contributions that Roberto and Vera Clemente made very relevant. And so, right, when we think about and Mayor talked about this, right? The commitment, and Roberto Clemente going to Latin American and Caribbean countries and really believing in the power of education as a vehicle for change. He understood that lifting communities meant more than just giving physical aid, right? He believed that it was beyond that, that it meant empowering communities through education, providing the tools for self-reliance and for self-respect. And an event like this, that is exactly what is happening today. And we're doing that really to show our young people that we believe in them, that we create opportunities for them to lead and to show their brilliance. And let me tell you, each and every one of our young people, each one, they're beautiful people and they're very, very capable people. And this is why I think we collectively have a responsibility to do right. Roberto and Vera Clemente reminded us of that there are many, many injustices in our societies that play out in the schools, whether it's homelessness, whether it is lack of access to health care, whether it is poverty. All of that shows up in schools. And so we have to work together to make sure that our young people and our families, that we wrap our arms and our hearts around them, to make sure that they can continue to uplift our society, because they're our future. And lastly, I would be remiss if I didn't mention that it is Women's History Month. Es el mes de la historia de la mujer. And we have to think about the fact that even today, women are not as represented in many, many important fields as men are. So we have work to do there, right? And Roberto and Vera Clemente focus on justice would also remind us that let's stay focused, because when women are not included, when our young ladies are not included, decisions get made, some perspectives are missed, policies get enacted to those that are elected officials that are here, right? And so we want to make sure that we create a community and ultimately a society that is really inclusive of all voices, including the voices of our women and our young ladies. So I want to say thank you for inviting me, and let's work together to continue to make this legacy a reality for all of us. Muchas gracias.
Thank you so much for that. And again, thank you so much for coming out every year and taking the time out your day. Can we give another round of applause, please? Now, I would like to announce and give a little recognition to some of the people who are here today. If I call your name, can you please stand up or raise your hand? It's going to be State Rep Gerardo Reyes, Councilman Emil Hernandez, Ms. Curry Folklore, Ward Shaky Avocado, Eunice Latino School Principal, Victor Caritafor. If I say your name wrong, I'm so sorry. State Rep Julio Concepcion, State Rep Jimmy Sanchez, Joe Rodriguez, PRU President, and New Haven Miss Puerto Rico Rio, and Miriam Cruz. And lastly but not least, former Mayor Eddie Perez. Now, Miss Puerto Rico of Greater Hartford Cultural Pageant 2023 Queens, Miss Isabel Young Guzman, Miss Preteen Jenna Lee Aponte, and Little Miss Lina Mayose Ortiz, who are going to introduce the 24 Miss Puerto Rico of Greater Hartford Cultural Pageant participants. If you guys could please stand up.
Buenas tardes, Hartford. My name is Isabel Amanda Young Guzman, and I am Miss Puerto Rico of Greater Hartford 2023. Today, it is with great honor and pride that I introduce to you the candidates of the Miss Puerto Rico 2024 division: Delmaris Padua Perez, representing the town Ponce; Janaya Hamilton, representing the town San Juan; Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Janali Celestina Aponte, and I'm your Miss Preteen Puerto Rico Greater Hartford Chapter 2023. These are the participants of the 2024 Miss Preteen. Miss Preetine Caguas, Jidalis. Miss Preetine San Juan, Janelina. Miss Preetine Ponce, Symphony. And Miss Preetine Vega Alta, Sanaya. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Liana Maisonet Ortiz. I'm your Little Miss Puerto Rico of 2023, and I'm proudly presenting to you the 2024 Little Miss participants. Little Miss Guayama, Victoria Dean. Little Miss Ponce, Arielis Guterres. Little Miss Santa Isabel, Caralis Ingles. Little Miss San Juan, Isabel Acevedo. Little Miss Yabucoa, Lila Grace Arruzuga. Thank you. Bernice Rosario Montes, Little Miss Vega Baja.
Thank you so much. Can we all give them a round of applause? Okay, now I would like to welcome up William Mendoza from Better Life.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much to you guys for coming on out. I am so humbled and to being here on the stage honoring a person who laid down the groundwork for what we do in our communities. And we have to continue doing these type of events honoring this gentleman, because for sure he affected my life, and it's what we do day in and day out in our communities. And community is key. So we're out there throughout the entire state providing services to our seniors. We have to look back, we have to tap into that source, which is educational. They carry our history, they carry our story, and we have to take care of that, okay? So I'm super honored to be here with you guys today, honoring this gentleman. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Everyone, please, another round of applause for him. Okay, everyone, I know you're a little tired of sitting down, so everybody please get up, start dancing. We got some music for y'all. and Hartford News. Can we give them all a round of applause, please? AccessTV.org. Now, I'm going to give you guys a little insight about what's going to be going on April 28th. So, for those who don't know, Los Amigos Softball League was founded in 2009 by Pedro Mercado, Pedro Cruz, and Jose Sanchez. And this year, the league is celebrating the 15-year anniversary. The league not only plays on Sundays, they offer music, food, and entertainment for the whole family. So y'all know, bring y'all family out there. The league would not have been possible and successful without the support of its players, managers, umpires, fans, families, volunteers, vendors, and sponsors. Over the last 15 years, the league has been part of many events, collaborations, and has supported many causes. They collaborate with the Yard Goats for the Roberto Clemente weekend, and the Roberto Way Baseball Clinic, which for the last 5 years has been held here at the Dunkin' Donuts Park. In 2017, the league was able to help many families in Puerto Rico after Hurricane Maria by setting up fundraisers and delivering 7 containers to Puerto Rico with food and other essentials. They not only support the city, but they also recognize those that best exemplify the game of baseball, softball, sportsmanship, and contribution to the league and the community, and their involvement in youth and devotion to the teams and families. This award began in 2015, and for years they have been awarding players and other people from around the state. Los Amigos Softball League would like to mention those who have received this award throughout the years. So please stand up when your name is called. 2015, Eli Chapo Cruz. 2016, Alex Mercado and Jeffrey Jessler. 2017, Julio Concepcion Sr., Cal Garcia and Anthony Garcia. 2018, Freddy De Jesus. 2019, Chim Chavez and Alex Baez. 2020, due to COVID, unfortunately there was no award, but 2021, State Representative Gelando Reyes. 2022, Juan Flecha, and 2023, Antonio Gomez Jr. Congratulations, give him a big hand of applause. Los Amigos Softball League plays every Sunday from April to October at Cole Park and currently has 17 teams. And this year they invite you to join them on Sunday, April 28th for its opening day. Ceremony starts at 11 a.m. I don't know about y'all, but they have me at music and family and food. So y'all be there. Now, I would love for you guys to turn your attention to the board as we have a special video from Roberto Clemente's family.
Hello, my dear friends from Hartford, Connecticut. This is Luis Roberto Clemente from Puerto Rico to say hello and thank everyone for participating and supporting the 12th annual Roberto and Vera Clemente Live celebration. Peter, thank you so much for your efforts in year after year, making sure that we continue to celebrate our parents' life and for all they gave for humanity. This is something that should never be forgotten. Thank God. My mother taught us how to continue the Clemente legacy with the utmost humbleness and also in considering everyone and treating everyone equally. Like Dad always, wanted to see that to be the case. You have an amazing guest speaker today, which is Steve Blass. He's part of our family for many, many years. You're really going to like Steve a lot. You have the students Naomi Pantaleon, Elvis Fabian, and Davian Figueroa that were involved in making sure that, this was possible today. Thanks for all your hard work, efforts in commemorating my parents. And also congratulations to Freddy De Jesus, who's being also awarded today, honored today. To our dear friends, Jeffrey Dressler and also Brenda from El Criollísimo. Always my love to you guys for supporting every efforts that are done in the community. Because of sponsors such as you, these events are possible. From our side, from the Clemente Foundation, you'll see us there in August with the clinics that we've annually been going and celebrating. So, once again, thanks everyone from the heart for doing this, for not forgetting the importance of what our parents did and actually gave of themselves to the world. God bless.
That was much appreciated that they could take
Hello,
the time
my
out
dear friends from Hartford.
that they could take the time out their day to put a video out there for us. It is my great honor to have our guest speaker here today. Honestly, we are so grateful to have you here. Let me give you a little bit of information about our keynote speaker today, Steve Blass, who is a valued member of the Pirates organization for more than 60 years. Steve Blass began his association with the franchise in 1960. The former pitcher complied a 103 to 76 record in 282 games over 10 seasons with the Pittsburgh, a member of the 1972 National League All-Star team. Blass won 78 games between 1968 and 1972 and led the NL with a .750 winning percentage in 1968. The highlight of his playing career came in 1971 when he registered complete game victories in Game 3 and Game 7 of the World Series against Baltimore Orioles. Can we give him a round of applause, please? Now it is my honor, if you guys could look at the screen, we have a special video for you guys to watch.
Right fielder in the game of baseball, Roberto Clemente. Glass has taken the Pirates to the World Championship.
Would you remember me when we were only 17? When we were living in our dreams, when we were young. It's not where you go, it's just where you're going and who's the company. And through the tears we cry, let them pass us by and get washed into the sea. Won't you just remember me when I was your life? 'Cause I was yours and you were mine.
I saw you running on the top of the dugout here, and they tried to get you out of here. They weren't going to get me out of there, boy. I told them, I don't care if they threw me in the biggest jail I got here. I'm going to be here.
Bring it that you'll steal me away, but in my dreams you'll always stay. But I'm away.
It's been quite a journey over 60 years, and I couldn't have made it without my wife, St. Karen.
Just won it. Ha! I ain't got the words. Yahtzee! Steve Blass's final telecast. Are you kidding? Steve, this one's for you.
Incredible! Incredible! Unbelievable! You can't write this script. Thank you. What a send-off!
Now I just sleep all day, dreaming that you steal me away. In my dreams you'll always stay, but I'm away. Yeah, I'm away. Oh, when your heart it breaks, it can make you ache, it can bring you to your knees. Won't you just remember me when I was your life? Oh, when I was your life, 'cause I was yours and you were mine.
Wow, that was such an amazing video, don't y'all think? But I could definitely do one for y'all better. I have the honor, and I'm so grateful to introduce the one and only himself, Steve Blass.
I didn't see that coming. I didn't see it coming. I'm a little emotional right now. That brought back a lot of stuff. I am just blown away. I'm a very, very proud guy that grew up in a small town up in the Berkshires, up in Paul's Village in Canaan, Connecticut. I'm blown away. I'm blown away by what I see here today. I'm blown away by this ballpark. This is something else. I mean, you should be so proud. That might be the best minor league ball player that should be a major league park, or ballpark that should be a major league ballpark. That's incredible. But so are you. But so are you, because I have a working knowledge of how this all started from the time I got off the plane until I got a chance to be up here with, what, 4 or 5 people starting this, not quitting on it, and see what it's become today. The people on the committee, you people, responding the way you have, you should be so darn proud. You should be so, I'm so proud to be a native of Connecticut to see this kind of thing happen. It's just a wonderful thing that you have going on here. It's just fabulous. So let me just tell you some, very, very quickly, you know, people talk about heroes, whether they're athletes or entertainers or anything, and that can be very flattering. But I want to tell you about my heroes. My heroes come in 3 categories: people who teach, people who heal, and people who give of themselves, their time and their resources when they don't have to, for helping to help other people. Nobody has twisted your arm. Nobody has forced you to be here today. You care about something, and I applaud you. I am surrounded in a room by heroes. Now, we've got a lot of ground to cover today, but as Elizabeth Taylor told each one of her 8 husbands, don't worry, I won't keep you long. So keep that in your back pocket. But You know, I'm also so proud to be a native of Connecticut because it's so hard to get a lot of baseball in, and I'm so proud of the guys that worked through all the weather delays you had in high school and prep school or whatever to get it to the big leagues. I'm just part of that group. You know, the guys like Jimmy Pearsall, Walt Dropo, Spec Shea, Rob Dibble, Bobby Valentine, Dick McAuliffe, Steve Dalkowski, who many of you have never heard of, was a guy from Connecticut who maybe threw harder than anybody in the history of the game of baseball. Steve Dalkowski, you can look it up. And also will be part of the group that included my wife's brother. John Lamb came to pitch for the Pirates when I was there. She was in the stands. My wife, St. Karen, was in the stands, and her husband got the win and her brother got the save. Now that doesn't happen very often in Major League Baseball, but that actually happened. So a baseball family that I married into, her brother, her brother and her cousin wound up playing in the major league. So when we got married, I thought we were going to raise little bonus babies that would make millions and millions of dollars when they signed. I'm still working. So that didn't work out quite that way. But you know, the great thing about Connecticut, I grew up in Connecticut listening to Mel Allen and the voice of the Yankees all those years. But I have to tell you a quick story. You saw that in the video. My dad, that was the guy in the blue shirt, after I won Game 3 of the World Series, he jumped off the dugout and came out to be with his kid from Connecticut, this plumber from Falls Village, to be with his kid when he won a World Series game. We all have fathers, or we all have had fathers, and we've all had singular moments with our dads. I will never forget that moment as long as I live. My dad was going to be with me after I won a game in the World Series, something I've been dreaming about since I was 8 years old. So we've got a wonderful tribute here to Roberto and Vera. I applaud you. I applaud you like I can't even begin to tell you, because Roberto Clemente was my teammate, my friend, and my hero. I mean, you couldn't take your eyes off him. He had the ability to take a 10-year major league veteran and turn him into a 10-year-old kid. Be 10 years in the big leagues or 10 years old, and it was fascinating to watch. You didn't want to take your eyes off him. You saw one thing in the slide, he was in the on-deck circle. I have that picture in my home. He even had a presence when he was kneeling in the on-deck circle. So he grew up in Carolina, Puerto Rico. I grew up in Falls Village, Connecticut. How lucky am I that I crossed paths and had the honor of being a teammate on the field with him for 10 years. I am so darn lucky, and I never take it for granted. Anybody that asks me to come and speak about Clemente, to appear, to do anything, just be a decoration with the name Clemente on it, I've never said no after he passed away. I have never said no. So I want to talk a lot about him, but I'm so darn proud of being from Connecticut. I want to tell you a little bit about my journey from Falls Village, Connecticut to the big leagues, because it's kind of interesting in a way. I graduated from high school in 1960, and I have never worked for anyone else. This is my 64th year of working for the Pittsburgh Pirates, and I'm so darn proud. I've had one wife for 60 years, plus 4 years of bad behavior in high school, and I've worked for the Pirates for 64 years. That's rare, and I'm so darn proud of that. So happy to represent Pittsburgh in so many different ways. One kind of thing, just briefly about the Pittsburgh Pirates, another tough season. And you know, when you win a World Series like we did with Roberto, it's all great, everything's up in the air and you're flying high. But you can also tell when you're struggling. Now, the Pirates have been struggling for 7 of the last few years, and it's been a struggle. It has been, and there are little indicators that let you know that your team is struggling. Like, for instance, 2 years ago, I walked into a huge supermarket in Pittsburgh through the produce area, and this little old lady, about 80 years old, walked up to me and said, "The Pirates suck and it's your fault." I said, "Lady, I'm just here for the kumquats. Give me a break, will you?" So that told me things were a struggle. One of my buddies called me on the phone. He said, "Can you leave me a couple tickets for the game tonight?" And I said, Sure, yeah, I can do that." He said, "What time does the game start?" I said, when can you get here? Think about it. He also said, where's my seat going to be? I said, you can sit on second base. We're not using it this year. So, you know, there's little indicators that let you know things aren't going very good. So I want to tell you a little bit about my progress. A lot of it has to do with the word obsession. I think if you want to get to the top, in any sport, basketball, hockey, baseball, you have to be obsessed. And it can be at the cost of some more important things in your life, but the obsession. I played Little League ball. I was obsessed with finding out if I was good enough to play Babe Ruth ball, the next notch up the ladder. I didn't know if I was going to be good enough, but I was obsessed with trying to find out. That's the obsession. I played Babe Ruth ball. I said, I wonder if I'm good enough to play on the high school team. I didn't know if I was, but I was obsessed with finding out. I found out that I could. I wondered if I was good enough to play professional baseball. I was obsessed. I didn't know if I was, but I wanted to find out. So when I was 18 years of age, the Pittsburgh Pirates gave me a chance to live my dream. Everybody has dreams. Not everybody has the chance to live them. I continued to live my life 64 years after the Pittsburgh Pirates gave me a chance to live my dream. I will always be loyal. Loyalty is a big thing to me. It's a big thing. The loyalty to the legacy of Roberto Clemente, the legacy to the Pittsburgh Pirates for giving me that opportunity to live that dream. Could have been the Mets, could have been the Cleveland Indians, Seattle Mariners. It wasn't. It was the Pittsburgh Pirates, and I will never, ever lose track of that. So I have to tell you about playing in minor league baseball. I would have given my left arm, I pitched with my right, but I would have given my left arm to play in this ballpark. This is gorgeous. I started my career in Kingsport, Tennessee. I was 18 years old. I'd never been away from Falls Village, Connecticut. And I went away to Kingsport, Tennessee. And after a couple of weeks, I figured, I have some laundry I have to deal with. So I went to the laundromat. I had never gone to the laundromat. Mom always did my laundry. So I go in there, and I see the machines, and so I throw my clothes in the clothes washer, and I see this little box on the wall said soap. Well, I figured, well, I got 6 pair of underwear, 6 pair of socks, so I bought a box for each item. And so I had 12 boxes of soap, and I threw it into the washing machine, and and I ran away. I ran away, and I mailed my laundry from Kingsport, Tennessee to Falls Village, Connecticut, and my mom would put it in a box, and she would mail it back to me when she cleaned it, all summer. But I learned how to learn the laundromat because she sent one batch back in August, and she also baked 2 dozen chocolate chip cookies and put it in with my clean laundry in the middle of August. And you can imagine what it looked like when it got to Kingsport, Tennessee. So I learned how to do the laundromat. But all through the minor leagues, the obsession continued. It continued and it continued. And Karen and I got married in 1963, and I got the call up to the big leagues in 1964. Let me tell you about the call to the big leagues, because every professional athlete knows the story about how they get called up to the big leagues. They all know the story, and I'll tell you mine. We'd been married less than a year. We were living in a small 1-bedroom apartment in Columbus, Ohio, in AAA, 1 notch away from the big leagues, itching to find out if we're going to get to the big leagues. So during this time, early in the season, we went on a road trip with the Columbus Jets AAA team to Buffalo and Rochester and Syracuse. Long road trip. We're on the bus. We're beat up. It took forever to be on the bus. And so it's a long, we're just beat up. We finally go from Buffalo to Rochester. We're playing the last game of this road trip in Syracuse, New York. We got a day-night doubleheader. I pitched the last game. We get finished at 1 o'clock in the morning, shower up, get back on the bus, and drive all the way from Syracuse, New York, back to Columbus, Ohio. We're beat up. We've been on the road for 2 weeks. So I go right to bed at 6 o'clock. At 10 o'clock in the morning, the phone rings on our little apartment, and my wife, St. Karen, answers and says, hello, and this gentleman says, I need to talk to Steve. And she said, well, he's sleeping. He's had a long night, and he's had a rough trip, and he really needs his rest, and I'm not going to wake him up. And he said, I really need to talk to Steve. And she said, listen, mister, my husband's a professional athlete, and I'm going to let him get his rest, and I'm not going to wake him up. And he said, young lady, my name is Joel Brown. I'm the general manager of the Pittsburgh Pirates, and we want to have Steve come up and pitch for us. And the next sound you heard in that little apartment was, get your ass out of bed, we're going to the big leagues. That's how I got the call. So, as you might guess, I never went to college. I signed right out of high school, but I went to the University of Baseball, and I got an education. And I joined some guys that have been left over from the '60 World Series team, including Roberto Clemente, and they helped me go from being a ball player to a major leaguer. And there's a big difference between a ball player and a major leaguer. There's a lot of ball players. There aren't all that many major leaguers. The responsibilities you have to your city, to your organization that you gave you a chance to live that dream, to the kids, to the fans, to charity, how to work with all those kind of entities, how to be a big leaguer, how to handle yourself on the road, how to dress, how to go where you're supposed to go and not where you're not supposed to go. And those guys helped me to go, and I'll never forget them. And but they also had a sense of humor. Also, Bill Mazeroski, a former Pirate, major leaguer, Hall of Famer, he had a sense of humor because Bill was a Hall of Fame second baseman, and the only thing he did not like was when he would go over and have to talk to a pitcher, a Pirate pitcher that was getting beat up, so they could have time to warm somebody up in the bullpen, just buying some time. So he hated going over to that. So I'm out there one night and I'm getting my face ripped off. I mean, I'm just getting killed. My ERA is going up faster than the price of gas back in 1974. So our manager, Danny Murtaugh, he gestures over to Bill Mazeroski and says, well, just go and talk to him while we get somebody ready in the bullpen. So Maz comes over and he said, it's not my idea. They made me do this. I didn't want to do this, but you know what? You are getting your ass kicked. So thanks, Maz. So they did have a little sense of humor. Roberto Clemente, who we're here for, Roberto had a sense of humor. And a quick story about my rookie year. I'd won a couple games, so I was all puffed up, feeling like I got this thing figured out. And I went to Forbes Field where we played then, and Roberto was sitting across the room from me by himself. So I said, I'll go over and tell Roberto what the deal is. I'll tell him this figured out. So I went over and I said, Roberto, here's the deal. If I ever get traded, I'm going to pitch you inside because every National League pitcher pitches you away and you hit 350 every year. And he said, Blas, I'm going to tell you one thing. You'll pitch me inside, I will hit the ball to Harrisburg. I said, good talk, went back to my locker. So they all had a sense of humor. But, I went to spring training a lot of years before I ever got to the big leagues, and I kept watching Roberto Clemente. I kept watching him. And, again, I got so lucky because I watched how not only how he played, but how he acted with the media, how he acted with fans, what he did in the hotels, on the airplanes. He never sacrificed his principles. He never lost his composure. I mean, I learned so much by keeping my mouth shut and just watching how he conducted his life. In one of his quotes, you see the famous one that your time on earth is wasted. He also had another great quote. He said, I love the people who suffer. And that's all you really had to know about Roberto Clemente. And he walked the walk, he talked the talk, and he never compromised that principle. He cared about people who suffered. He also had this wonderful idea and alertness of who came into the Pirate clubhouse. And Roberto Clemente dealt with everybody, the media he had to, but when he saw maybe a high school kid coming in, was trying to do a project and get an interview or talk to anybody that had a Pirate uniform on, Roberto Clemente would get up out of his chair and he would go over and get that kid and take him to his locker, get him a chair, and talk to that kid. And he just had that awareness of people who were not on top of the world, people who had a need, and that was never compromised. I'll tell you a quick story. He said, Blas, I'm going to tell you how to handle young fans that come in. When you're a Major League Baseball player down on the field, they might come in with their parents, they might have won some contest. And here's what you do. These kids are terrified. So you get a kid that's 8 or 9 years old, comes in, he said, you know, don't hover him over. You're this big person with a uniform on. Get down on one knee. And for example, say, look that kid in the eye. Now you're at eye level with that kid. You're not hovering him over here like some big, huge person. And say, Jimmy, where you been all afternoon? I've been waiting to see you. Jimmy, could I ask you a favor? Would you take a picture with me? That's Roberto Clemente giving me a life lesson about how to deal with young kids. I mean, it's that simple, but he took the time out for me as a rookie to teach me those kind of things. And as I said, you could look at him kneeling in the on-deck circle. I mean, he, after we won the World Series, they asked Roberto to do a big deal commercial for a dairy company in Pittsburgh. He said, I will if you'll include some of my teammates. And they said no, so he didn't do it. Simple stuff like that. He never lost a step with his principles. He never compromised. And that's what I learned from him so much by just watching him. You know, the talent. He played right field like it was choreographed. And I couldn't take my eyes off him. I was like a kid watching him every day. Everything he did. The humanitarianism, we know that. We all know about that. We know about his numbers. The stats, yeah, I'm not going to tell you about the numbers, but we know about his humanitarian stuff. And this happened a long time before he died, tragically, in that mercy mission over to Nicaragua, where he had given a clinic, and he saw that the supplies after their earthquake had not been distributed evenly with equality. So he was going back to see if he could help those supplies that were given by a lot of entities get distributed in a better fashion on New Year's Eve. On New Year's Eve. That tells you a lot too. And I'll never forget the morning when we found out that he had been lost on that airplane. And there was no 24-hour news loop that you found out in the middle of the night. So we found out about 10 o'clock the next day. And I put it this way when people ask me, the shoulders of the city of Pittsburgh slumped. It was devastating. We had had Roberto for 23 years, and he was gone. And it's so final for anybody that loses a loved one. But for that city, our shoulders slumped that day when we found that out. Yeah, as I said, he had a sense of humor too. He had one of the biggest bats of any major league player. And I used to use it to bunt with because it was going to be easier for me to put a bunt on. And he used to say, you can use my bat to bunt with, but if you ever use it to hit and you break it, he said, I will hunt you down and you will never throw another pitch. So we got to be buddies that way. And he also said, like every position player, that he could pitch. Every once in a while we'd play catch before a game and he'd say, Blas, come here, let me show you my curveball. And he'd throw this miserable little nothing curveball. And I said, Roberto, stay in right field. I think it's going to work out for you. I think it's going to work out for you. Now, how many people in this audience, I know there's some veteran people, I want to take a poll. How many people remember a television show called Mission Impossible? Yeah, okay. You remember Peter Graves, he would get in the phone booth and he would get his mission, right? So Roberto liked to get a rub down 10 minutes before every game on the trainer's table. So I used to sneak in every once in a while, and I was pretending to be that guy in the phone booth. I would crawl underneath the training table, and I would be the guy in the phone booth, and he could hear me, and I said, good morning, Mr. Clemente, this is your neck. Your assignment today is to hit 3 doubles and throw 2 guys out at third base. And if you or any of your teammates are discovered, we will disavow any knowledge of this particular project. And he'd be up there laughing and everything. So we got to be pretty good friends. We really did. Both of us had closer friends, obviously. But my goal, my last 5 years that I spent as a teammate, was to try to get him to laugh and smile. And we became good friends. And so you go from that situation in a clubhouse where your teammates, you're just thinking about the game coming up. But when you walk in that clubhouse, every day I walked in that clubhouse and I saw Roberto Clemente. I said, I'm in the big leagues. And over there, Roberto Clemente, I always thought of him, that phrase, he's one of the reasons they call it the big leagues. And I never lost track of that. I love that man. I loved everybody about him. So his World Series in 1971 showed everybody around the world of baseball, which we've been seeing for 20 years, the mastery of Roberto Clemente's ability to play the game of baseball at every level. Running, throwing, hitting, his instincts, the way you got to jump on a ball. And I want to tell you a little story, if you'll give me your attention, about something that happened in the World Series, and it's on the World Series highlight film. Because before the series, a lot of people thought it was going to be a battle between the two great right fielders, Roberto Clemente and Frank Robinson. Hall of Famer Frank Robinson, who's MVP in both leagues, and that just doesn't happen. So Frank Robinson is in right field early in the series. Clemente hits a home run over his head, okay? Robinson, it doesn't go very far over his head, but it's a home run. Robinson has got his back to the wall. And these two great right fielders are captured in that moment because as the ball goes over Frank Robinson's head, Frank Robinson does this. A little tip of the cap of respect. Ultimate professionalism. I don't know if you see enough of that in the games today. But this was a little gesture. It didn't need to have fireworks, headlines. It was two magnificent baseball players showing respect for each other. Clemente hitting it over his head and Frank Robinson acknowledging what he had just done. That image will stay with me for a long, long time. The World Series interview after, we were on the dais like this with Bob Prince. I was called up first and I was talking so fast I had no idea what I was saying. But as I was up there, Bob Prince, our broadcaster, brought Roberto up there. And he asked Roberto about a question, and Roberto said, before I answer that, Bob, I want to say something to my parents. And he started to talk to his parents in Spanish before he returned to the interview in English. And just as he got through, I don't know what made me do it, and I hollered into the microphone beside him, Mr. and Mrs. Clemente, we love him too. I was embarrassed about that, but it was genuine. It was just spontaneous, and it was just one of those things that I love doing. And now, this is one of the, if I can just convey the emotion for a minute of being ready to go home to Pittsburgh after the last game of the World Series. Roberto's being interviewed over here. I'm interviewed over there. You got a picture in your brochure of us finally just getting photographed. But now we get on the airplane. He and Vera are sitting up at the front of the airplane. I'm sitting in the middle of the airplane with my wife, Karen. We're just sitting there, not taking off yet. I was in the window seat. Roberto Clemente gets up out of his seat in the middle of the airplane, comes down through the aisle, stands outside of our row, and I'm not making this up. I would not insult your emotions. But he gets in the middle of our aisle and said, Glass, come out here and let me embrace you. And I would have climbed over 7 elephants to get to him. All I did was, I gave him a hug. I didn't say a word. I just held on. I will have that image with me for the rest of my life. For the rest of my life. It's etched. I don't do computer work. I don't do technology. I touched my wife's computer once and the garage door went up. So I don't do any of that stuff. But I will have that image with me the rest of life. And I think the one frustration, maybe one of many, but one for Roberto is that he was such an intelligent man that it frustrated him every once in a while that he had to use words in English to convey something that he probably would have conveyed better in his native tongue of Spanish. And I know that bothered him at some times, but the thing I'm trying to convey is there's so many the aspects of Roberto Clemente. And he won the car. You know, he was the MVP. If it was anybody else but Roberto, I probably would have won it because I won Game 3 and Game 7, 2 complete games, But he won the car, and I wear this hat to remember the fact that the next spring training, because he played one more year after the World Series, the MVP wins a wonderful sports car, and I would have won that car. So I told him the next spring training, I said, all right, you got the car. I should have at least got the tires. And then he said something to me in Spanish that I can't repeat, that I understand what it means. But, you know, the thing about the loss of Roberto Clemente in so many ways, but there's 3 layers of grieving. First of all, we find out that morning that he's gone. He's lost in this horrific tragedy. That's grieving number 1. And then we think we're recovering a little bit, and then we go to spring training. And for the first time in 25 years, Roberto Clemente is not in spring training. So that starts it up all over again. You're just kind of dealing with the fact that you lost him, and now it comes back in a wave when you get to spring training. Number 21's not there. He's just not there. And then you go up in Pittsburgh and have your home opening game of the 1973 season, and he's not there. I mean, that's 3 layers of obvious grieving. But this legacy of his, so many great athletes have done wonderful things with their legacies, and you remember them for this or that. Roberto Clemente's legacy goes on stronger and stronger, and I continue to applaud you for what you're doing to help that legacy. Thank you again from the bottom of my heart, and I bring that regard from the people of Pittsburgh, what you're doing here. And I get a little emotional about it, but there's a street name. We just named a street in Bradenton, Florida, where the Pirates have spring training, Roberto Clemente Memorial Way. I spoke down there with Luis and Roberto Jr. I'm with those guys every time they come to Pittsburgh. I'm with them in the Clemente Museum, where I help conduct the tours. I don't conduct them. We have a guy who conducts this. And if you ever get to Pittsburgh, go to the Clemente Museum. It's spectacular. So we have a guy that does the tour, and I just hang around and tell stories about to add to them, but I don't miss a one, and I'm so proud to be here. And I learn something different every time I'm there. I did this eulogy that I'm going to read momentarily, but I also went to Vera's memorial with John Candelaria, great Pirate pitcher, and Al Oliver, who should be in the Hall of Fame. But we went to Vera's, and Vera and my wife got to be good friends, and you know, people didn't move around. Clemente played his career in Pittsburgh after coming from Montreal. I played I never played for anybody else. We got lucky. So we got to know families, and we got to know Vera. We got to know guys like Willie Stargell. Willie Stargell had the greatest thing when he came back from all his All-Star things. During an All-Star break, he had 3 days. Willie would have a picnic in his backyard in Pittsburgh, and it was the greatest picnic, because he would go to Sears and buy a big green, brand new rubber trash thing, and he would bring it home, fill it up with ice, and put every conceivable type of alcohol you can possibly imagine in that bowl. And then he'd cover it up with grape juice, so it tasted good. And then he would stir it with one of his bats, and when the bat came out, the finish was off the bat. You could have sold that stuff for paint thinner at Home Depot. So all these guys that we did that with. Before I read the eulogy, we went to the White House. President Nixon asked us to come to the White House. So Dave Justy and I and the owner of the Pirates on a private plane, we flew to Washington. We spent a half an hour in the Oval Office with President Nixon, because he wanted to have HUD, H-U-D, Housing Urban Development, get involved with Pirate City, which was Roberto's dream. It has fallen on hard times, unfortunately. I hope they get it together. But that was Roberto's dream, is to have a sports city that was education and athletics. And President Nixon, I don't know if he's a knowledgeable baseball fan. I heard that he was, but he was very well prepared. He talked about that. He also talked about a personal donation to Pirate City from he and his wife, Pat. And it was a wonderful meeting. I have a picture of that. So we did that, and then we went down to Puerto Rico for the memorial. And it was something that it was an honor for me to do it. I wish I had 20 more years to wait to do it, but if we could. There was a eulogy given to Lou Gehrig for the Yankees, and we had a PR man that worked for the Yankees and then came to us, and Bill Guilfoyle was his name. He asked the Yankees if we could paraphrase the eulogy for Clemente and paraphrase it from what they had for Lou Gehrig. And this is the eulogy, if I could have your attention. This is important because we're going to finish up here shortly. But when I got into that church in Carolina, first of all, I thought I'd never get through it, but I will for you now. And it's this. We've been to the wars together. We took our foes as they came, and always you were the leader, and ever you played the game. Idol of cheering millions, records are yours by sheaves. Iron of frame, they hailed you, decked you with laurel leaves. But higher than that we hold you, we who have known you best, knowing the way you came through every human test. Let this be a silent token of lasting friendship's gleam, and all that we've left unspoken, your friends on the pirate team. That's the eulogy that was delivered in Carolina, Puerto Rico. Now, if I can buy just a couple more minutes, because there's a couple baseball stories that I need to have you hear, and I can't help myself. One of them involved the New York Mets. Remember, there was a famous Yankee manager, Casey Stengel, all the championships, Hall of Fame. So Casey Stengel retired. The next year, the Mets came into being, and they hired Casey Stengel to be their first manager, and they promptly went 42 wins, 120 losses, the worst team record that's ever been compiled in the game of baseball in the major leagues. And they also had the worst baseball player that ever played, Marv Throneberry. We call him Marvelous Marv. So during this horrific season, they look up one night, and Marv's on first base. Never been there before, nobody knew how he got there, but there he is, and the next Met hits a double, and Marv comes all the way around to score. The other team gets the ball, and they go over and tag third base, and they call Marv out for missing third base. This famous manager storms out of the dugout to argue, and the umpire says, "Stay right there, Casey." He also missed second. So those kind of things can happen. The old pitcher, there's a pitcher, Bob Gibson, who, famous pitcher, Hall of Famer, set the Major League strikeout for a World Series game in 1968. Struck out 17 batters. Tom Gorman, a famous umpire, also in the Hall of Fame, was umpiring behind home plate. So after the game, the writers came in. They all asked Bob Gibson how he pitched, da-da-da-da. Now they go over to ask the umpire, because this is a record. So they all go into Tom Gorman, the umpire's office, and say, "Tom, what'd you think about Gibson tonight?" He said, "He was terrific. He struck out 10, I struck out 7. So those kind of things happen. Now, I know that, Jolene, you wanted to ask me if I ever hit a Major League home run. Thank you very much. I hit one. It was so long ago. It was so long ago that I can't remember much about it, except it was September 5th, 1969. Chicago Cubs, Wrigley Field, winds coming out of the southwest at 5 miles an hour, temperature 73 degrees, humidity 45%. It was partly cloudy, and there was a chance of rain. Ken Holtzman's a pitcher, and there were 2 men on. The rest of it's kind of hazy, but thanks for asking, Jolene. I do appreciate that. Anybody remember Henry Aaron, the great Henry Aaron? My hero, one of my heroes. Well, Henry was winding down his career. It was last year, so he was making kind of a farewell tour around the National League Park. So he was playing first base at this particular time. And we had a pitcher that was not a very good hitter. He was 1 for 5. Well, 1 hit in 5 years. So it was terrible. His name was Luke Walker. So Luke was up there hitting one time. Henry's playing first base. Luke, by accident, bloops the ball over the second baseman's head, runs down. Now he's standing on first base beside Henry Aaron. And the Pirate fans are all cheering like crazy because he got a base hit. And Hank Aaron thought it was for him because he was there for the last time. So Henry tipped his cap and said, and Luke said, "Keep your damn hat on, Henry, this is for me." So that's the only hit Luke ever had. So those kind of things happened. Johnny Bench, remember Johnny Bench, Hall of Famer? I went to one National League All-Star game. You know what it's like to walk in an All-Star clubhouse? Oh, there's Willie Mays, there's Aaron, there's Steve Carlton, there's Bob Gibson, all these great ball players. And, you know, with your own team, it's fine, but when you walk into a National League All-Star, there's Bench, there's Perez, there's Rose, all these great, great players. So I sat down in my locker next to Johnny Bench, one of the greatest, maybe the greatest catcher of all time. And I go and say, "Hey, you know, we didn't fraternize." So, "Hey, Johnny, how you doing?" He said, "Hey, Steve." He said, "I understand you're pitching the third inning tonight in the All-Star game." I said, "Yeah, they choreograph, they plan it, schedule, that kind of stuff." So he said, "I'm going to be catching there. What kind of signals you want to use? Like one's a fastball, two's a curve, three's a slider." Well, Johnny, I said, "You know, whenever I face you, you seem to know what's coming. So why don't we just wing it?" So we got through that hard. But one guy I do have to mention, because he was Roberto Clemente mentored Manny Sanguillen, my catcher, second only to Johnny Bench in that era. Manny was the happiest guy. So a lot of the crazy stuff, listen to the last story. A lot of the crazy stuff happens to rookies, right? So we got rookies. So you're naive, you don't know much. So I'd been in the league a couple of years. Manny Sanguillen, we brought him up for the minor leagues, and he's going to catch his first major league game in Chicago. So we go out, they get us out 1, 2, 3 in the first. I go out in the bottom of the first. I give up 2 hits and a walk. I got the bases loaded, and I still think I can hear the anthem. It's that quick. And who's coming up but Ernie Banks, Hall of Fame batter, 500 career home runs. I got the bases loaded, nobody out, and Ernie Banks is up, and Manny Sanguillen, who's always smiling, decides to have his first ever pitcher's conference. So he turns around the umpire, comes trotting out, looks at that big smile on his face, and says, "You know," and then he goes back. That's the conference. So he puts down 2 fingers for the curveball. I throw the curveball. Ernie promptly hits it into Lake Michigan, and then I guess I did know. But there's one last chapter to this. 5 days later, I'm pitching again. Manny's going to get his second ever major league catching assignment. Same thing. They get us out 1, 2, 3. I got in the bottom first. I give up an infield hit, 2 walks, got the bases loaded. Oh, it's not Ernie Banks now. It's Henry Aaron. It's Hank. Bases loaded, nobody out. Manny decides to have his second ever pitcher's conference. Listen, that big smile on his face said, "Oh, you throw a double play. Like in Call Sears in order to double play. That's the conference." He goes back. So he goes back, puts down 3 fingers for the slider. I let go of the ball. You ever have those dreams where everything slows down? And as I let go of the ball and it starts going, Henry's eyes get bigger and bigger and bigger, and he just crushes the ball, but he doesn't get under. He knocks 3 bricks out of the wall at Fulton County Stadium in Atlanta. 3-run double. He's on second base. They've all scored. Manny Sanguillen. Listen, now, so I never said double. I say double play. And of course, the manager's on his way out to give me the rest of the night off. So, just want to say again, I know it's been a long afternoon, but I was just blown away by this opportunity to be here with you. The ballpark, the turnout, and again, how about if we can all get together? I'm going to count to 3. For the people who started this whole thing with 4 people, the response that has been the committee, the people that work hard, the young people that are getting involved, the fact that the young people are invited to get involved and that they answer that with a yes and participate. How about a round of applause for everybody who's done this? And let me leave you this, my philosophy. the only real gift that we have as human beings is the gift of time. And I think about how we'll be judged might be based on how we distribute that gift. Thank you for having me. By the way, anybody got any questions? Do we have time for Q&A? Oh, okay, all right. Yeah, I'm not going anywhere, so if you want to come over and say hello or get an autograph, I can pay you to take one.
Thank you so much, Steve Blass. It's honestly been such an honor to be able to be even in his presence and hear all the wonderful stories he's had before. And just being with him, I'm completely grateful, and I know the committee is completely grateful that he took the time out his day to be here with us. So everybody, can we give a loud, loud, loud round of applause? Not to mention, at the end, you guys will have an opportunity as well, if you would like, around where it says Marketplace over there, Steve Blass will be signing autographs as well as answering any questions you guys may have. So at the end, make sure y'all stick around because y'all get to meet him yourselves. Now, I would like to mention somebody who's here we have students who kind of run this event and help make this event possible. And they wouldn't be here if a certain someone wouldn't allow them to be. So can we give a round of applause for Principal Ambrose? Thank you for coming out today and supporting us. And now I would like to invite the 3 students who did make this event possible today on stage to talk a little bit about contests that the students host every single year. So Naomi, Elvis, and Davian, can you please come on stage? Everybody give them a round of applause.
Okay, everybody, thank you for coming. So we had a contest for the students of SMSA where they had to submit a video talking about community service that they did. So we're just gonna announce the winners for this contest.
Our 3rd place winner is Alfred Encarnacion. Our 2nd place winner is Arely Negreros. I want to welcome Jeffrey Jessler to come on stage and announce the 1st place.
We are live from Duncan Park, home of the Hartford Yard Goats, in the greatest city in the world, Hartford, Connecticut. I want to acknowledge the Hartford Yard Goats for sponsoring, for hosting this event every year. And I want to acknowledge particularly CICD, the Los Amigos Softball League, the Roberto Clemente Committee, and His Royal Graciousness, Peter Mercado. We have a round of applause for everyone. So they switched this up a little bit, but I want to tell you that all of the students that participated in this had a tremendous experience. They learned about the sacrifices of Roberto Clemente, the virtues that he represented, and the incredible accomplishments that he realized, and all by hard work and strength of character. Now, what we've seen tonight has evoked empathy, emotion, but your presence here every year, along with your hard work, sustain the ennobling influence and legacy of Roberto Clemente, a true humanitarian and undoubtedly one of the greatest ball players that ever played the game. So, you guys ready? The officials are ready. The fans are in their seats. The players are ready to take the field. Are you ready? Are you ready? Then, ladies and gentlemen, this is the moment we've all been waiting for. For all those in attendance and the millions that wish they were. Let's get ready, Hartford! Please join me in recognizing our first place winner, Favor Icon. Yes. Sammy, what do we have? Come on over here, Sammy Vega. We're going to play the video first? Okay, I guess we're going to take a look at a video. Whoa. That Favor produced.
Discover the coolest youth teacher ever. My name is Favor Ike. I'm 18, Nigerian, and a senior at SMSA. Let me show you a little about my volunteer service in the children's department. I've been with these kids for around 4 years now, but been teaching around 3. I look forward to seeing them every Sunday, but before I can do that, I have to make sure I have a lesson plan for the day. Typically, it takes me around an hour to find a topic in scripture to look at. While reading is good, I like to make my lessons interactive. I believe that you have to understand their mindset in order to build a relationship with them. I do this by coming up with fun games to play and videos to show them. Let me show you an activity that they love doing. We're Christians. Christian. Of course it's a crime to twist my hair.
I'm Christian. Of course I always braid my hair.
I'm Christian. I always show love and sorry every Wednesday. I'm Christian. Of course I have to memorize 15 memory verses.
Of course I'm Christian. No one let me go to get whatever I want.
I'm Christian. Of course I can force to do stuff.
I'm Christian. My parents make me pray. What question? I like to watch TV a lot.
I'm Christian. Of course it's a sin to have your Christmas. I'm Christian. I always pray with my family every morning.
I'm Christian. Of course it's a sin to have the time.
I'm Christian. Of course I have to sing the times like this. I'm Christian. Of course I have to teach Sunday school every Sunday. My work with the kids doesn't stop there. Over the summer, I help manage the children's department during a national convention. Children from all over the different branches in the U.S. come with their families to have a good time. Working with these kids has truly been a great add-on to my life.
I have just been instructed to invite the superintendent of the Hartford school system and the principal of sports and medical sciences to come forward. Just doing as I'm told. We have money in here? Yeah? I want to make sure. I'm a lawyer, you know? Ooh! Really? What do I have in here? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, these are the students that helped put all of this together. And this is a surprise for them. And we have a $250 book scholarship for Davian Figueroa. I should check them all, shouldn't I? What if they give you less? You don't want that, right? Elvis Fabian. Smile for the crowd. All right, there you go. And, ladies and gentlemen, Naomi Pantaleon. Sammy Vega, we have something else, don't we? That's it? Wait a minute. Photo op.
would just like to talk a little bit about what I've done. I would first like to start off and say that I'm grateful to the committee who chose my video, and I'd also like to thank all the sponsors that made this event possible and made this event to happen. It's really important to keep legacies alive, especially Roberto and Vera Clemente's. It's really something that should be honored every year. And I'm grateful for the community that I'm surrounded with. Without them, I really wouldn't be able to be here today receiving the reward that I am. So I just want to say thank you, and all this really ties to Roberto and Vera Clemente because they use their life services to help the people around them in their communities, even those that they might not have known. And as for me, I've been working with kids. I got to experience working with new kids every summer when my church reaches out with different churches. We kind of just come together, so that's really been, it's really been a good thing for me, and I just like to say thank you to everyone here today.
Okay, and I just want to give a little bit of background on the community service event and why we picked it. We picked it because, as we all know, Roberto Clemente is such a great humanitarian. He gave his life helping people and expecting nothing in return, and that's what we wanted to inspire students to do. And now we will be closing. So thank you so much, everybody, for coming. You know, Roberto's legacy will be remembered on and off the field. And now with Davian, what you gotta say?
It's a privilege to be part of honoring his legacy, and we're grateful for this opportunity. Kudos to the committee, sponsors, and everyone involved. The event's success is a testament to everyone's dedication and support.
Let's cherish this commemoration and continue to draw inspiration from Clemente's remarkable life. Thank you and enjoy the rest of the event.
And we just want to welcome on Freddy de Jesus, the chairman of the committee.
So as I begin talking, can I get the committee to come up and just be behind me real quick? So as they're coming out, I want to thank all of you that showed up today because you could have been anywhere else in the world, but you decided to be here with us. So thank you so much. Without you being a part of this event, the event does not go on. So thank you. Please give yourselves a round of applause. Additionally, I want to thank the committee that's here. A lot of hard work, a lot of time, a lot of effort. It is a labor of love, so we receive this with open arms, but it doesn't happen in a silo. There's a lot of collaboration. So let's give it up for the committee. And then I'll put, so we don't have to keep clapping, I'll put the volunteers from SMSA, all of our sponsors, Better Life, on air, we have media, the radio stations, all of that was part of this too, so thank you very much. And then before I thank Steve, and I have two stories, so bear with me. Steve talked about, after the World Series, how he was on the podium next to Roberto. And at that time, as he said, Bob Prince asked him to say some words, and the words that he said were in Spanish. And he says, en el día más grande de mi vida, quiero dar las bendiciones a mi hijo y pedirle las bendiciones de mi padre en Puerto Rico. Now, Steve, you didn't mention this. Where's Steve? Always over there signing autographs. But in that moment when Roberto said that, that was the first time ever on satellite that the Spanish language was spoken on TV. So that was a very historic moment. Steve was there for that moment and for many other historic moments. So Steve, I know you can't necessarily hear us, but thank you so much for bringing us just a little bit closer to Roberto than we've ever been. So thank you, Steve. Let's give it up. Now my second story. For as long as I can remember, Roberto was like a family member. My family's from Carolina. My father played AA ball in Carolina as well. So he was part of the family. He was our hero. He was larger than life. And when I say that this is like as long as I can remember and when I was a child. So this is my Pirates jersey, and on the back is my name with the number 31. Now, the number 31, and I love numbers, so pay attention to this one. So 31 was my birthday, so that's why it was my favorite number. When I played sports, that number was never available because they didn't have 31 jerseys. So I did the next best thing, which was turn that number around. So I picked 13 because widely accepted as an unlucky number, nobody ever wanted it, right? So 13 became my number. My sister, who's standing over there, also stole my number, and she wears 13 as well. But as I went through life, 13 kind of dictated a lot. Like, it helped me make decisions. I looked for the number in different places. When I went to get a place to live, they took me to a spot that was 625, and if you take 6 and 2 and 5 and add them together, it's 13, right? So 13 is very close to me. So imagine my surprise when I found out that Roberto wasn't always number 21. When he broke into the major leagues in 1955, he wore number 13, okay? And he wore that number for a month because there was a gentleman by the name of Earl Smith who was also an outfielder for the Pirates that had that number. Now, I love numbers, as I said before. Earl Smith in 1 month ended up going back to the minor leagues after, get this, 21 at-bats. That freed up the number 21. Roberto then claimed that number, suited up, and the rest is history. Now, getting back to the numbers, the reason that Roberto Clemente wore number 21 is because his name is Roberto Walker Clemente, and there are 21 letters in his name. So that's where that came from, okay? Now, I say all this to say that we, all of us here, are Roberto. Whether it's el orgullo de patria, whether it's the fact that we love the Pirates, that we love baseball, or that we engage in the active service and the volunteer work and the community work and use him as our role model and our idol. We all have a piece of Roberto woven into the fabric of who we are. So today, as we head out in the car, do some thinking, have conversations with your friends, your families, in the shower, if you think in the shower, tap into that inner Roberto, because we are all Roberto. And when you tap into that, find ways to get out there and use that to make a difference, because as Steve said, if you have the opportunity to make a difference in this world and you don't, then you're wasting your time. So we are Roberto. Take that with you today. Thank you so much for coming out. Have a blessed Palm Sunday. Enjoy your week. And we'll see you back here next year. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you very much. We have a set of missing keys. There's food in the back, autographs, t-shirts. Hang out as long as you want. Not that long, but you get the idea. Thanks a lot. Have a good one.